Maye's, Noodles, and the O-Dog on TSN 1050.
Here we go, OverDrive, off and running, TSN 1050 on the TSN app, your home smart speaker, and up on TSN 4, Brian Hayes, the O-Dog, Jeff O'Neill, Jamie Noodles McLennan.
What's going on?
What's going on over there? What is that we're wearing?
What do we have? Somebody gave him a free something.
Asked for it. Someone asked for something, and it finally arrived.
Ivan Demidov.
Good player, man.
That's your guy?
Ivan Demidov hoodie.
Okay.
You got a hoodie with his name on the back of it.
Look at you, Jersey guy, hoodie guy.
Remember I told you guys I love Demidov? He's one of my favorite players. My buddy Paul Edwards, thank you very much, got me the Warrior Demidov hoodie. Thank you very much.
So he's your guy. Rookie of the year, lock for you, or Schaefer's still the guy?
Schaefer's still the guy. But let's clean up some housekeeping, first of all. Take me off of the group text with you and Al's brother, because you guys aren't taking me seriously. Noodles, these two idiots, they say, this is where it starts. Early leans, please. I send out what I think, and they go, no, that's not going to happen. Dude, take me off of that. I'm not doing that anymore. That's so stupid.
Here's the problem, Noodles.
Yes,
right?
I want to hear this.
No.
Here's the problem. Okay.
Dude, we're having Jesse Palmer on today.
Yes.
Before any question is asked, I'm going to say, Jesse, what do you think of this philosophy? The Seahawks are going to destroy the 49ers. Destroy.
Okay.
Thoughts?
We could use some help. Let's be clear here. Noodles,
what are your problems? What are your problems with the text message?
It's not a matter of problems. Here's the issue. We get the ball rolling. This is how Al's brother and I operated all year for one of the all-time great seasons in the history of pro sports. We were glad to take you on a waiver wire, and you're a big part of the team, and we love having you. But we have a process here.
Late signing.
Where, yes, and the way it operates, early leans, you get the ball rolling. You come out of the gate flying. This team's going to get destroyed. It's like, we're not talking, okay, just ease in. Why do you think that? Slaughtered. Yeah. You're idiots. And I'm like, dude, just relax. Take us through the process. You're morons. Take me out. And I'm like, you're not answering anything. You're just
there's
yelling.
No rationale. There's
no rationale.
You got to have different personalities in the boardroom.
Agree with you.
Boardroom.
So let me get this straight. You guys like to roundtable it on a group text.
No, this is how the roundtable goes. I give my 2 cents, sometimes a little off the handle, sometimes a little crazy. Al's brother comes out with a stat pack. And then this guy goes, here's what we're doing. This is the direction. This guy's Mike Keenan.
Yeah.
No.
He's Mike Keenan of
Mike
HBO.
Tomlin, maybe. You know, I'm listening to everyone. Someone's got to make an executive decision at the end of the day. And that's, I guess, my role in this process. But it's a tough week. It should be. It's the divisional round. We got 4 great games. You know, there's really compelling storylines. Jesse Palmer will join us at 4:30, and we'll get some help. And nothing's been defined. And here's another thing, okay? If you don't like the process, your answer can't be, take me off the group chat, I'm out. Like, just relax a little bit. You know, we're just getting going here. We're not making the picks until Friday. We're going to settle. We got to consider who they're going to take, right? That's part of the process. We get to pick our 2 games. We're not telling you anything, Noodles, until Friday. We're not telling you two anything. We make our picks, and then you will be left with the 2 games that are remaining. So
cool.
The ball is rolling. Al's brother's on Canadian soil. Everything's okay. All right, we're going to be fine. And I haven't seen any big injury updates yet this week, which I think is a good sign. I think everyone's ready to go. You know, we'll see. Obviously, the big quarterbacks are playing, and Jesse Palmer a little bit later this hour.
What are the odds, too? Have we had the odds come out yet?
Yeah. Yeah. Spreads are out. Man, the NFL, their spreads come out
they come out
after a game.
Instantaneously, but I haven't seen them in the group chat.
They're starting to move a little bit. Like the Rams, it's moving in the direction of the Rams a little bit.
The Bills would be...
Bills are favored. Bills are favored.
That's what I thought.
I mean, I don't know if you really want to do this. Do you want an early kind of lean on that tilt?
I like the Bills. I know where you stand. You like Denver. And big, is that what you're saying? Big? You like Denver big? Is that your...
Massive.
I can't reason with that.
I don't know how you think that is a massive win.
No.
The
Josh Allen plays
Broncos,
for the
the
Bills.
Broncos
Exactly.
are not the Jaguars. Finkel is not Einhorn, and Einhorn is not Finkel. And the Broncos are not the Bills, man. I just think that they might slaughter the Bills.
I don't see
Really?
it. That's
It's
the problem.
just I get
the
an issue.
problem.
I know. I get an initial feeling about a game. I was 1 for 2 last week on my thoughts.
Exactly.
Okay.
Not great. Eagles Super Bowl. They're in Cancun right now. You know, you had the Jags beating the Bills. They're in Cancun. So, that's a part of the problem here. So we're trying to wade through this. But anyway, I like the Bills. I like Josh Allen. I think it'll be a tight game. And I feel like if it comes down to the fourth quarter again, and he's got the ball in his hands with 2 minutes, they're going to win. Like, that's how he operates, and that's the way he's wired. But it's not going to be easy. None of these games will be easy. They're all going to be
kind of pick'ems, aren't they? They're close to being pick'ems.
like the
right?
biggest spread, Seattle, San Fran, because the Niners are just so beaten down. Short week, all the way to Philly, now to Seattle, like coast to coast, and Kittle's out. But they've been banged up all year, and they continue to play well. So, there's another one. We don't see eye to eye necessarily, or Al's brother and the O-Dog don't. But we'll sort it out. We'll be fine. We're going to get to those picks on Friday. Jesse Palmer later in the hour. Pete DeBoer will join us in an hour. We'll catch up with Pete. We got role play level of concern. And what's your level of concern on the Leaf performance last night? Fine on the patio. You Stevie Caldwell. Where are we at?
Dude, it goes one way or the other. They either build off the momentum of the win in Colorado, or you get spanked. Like, back-to-backs are difficult in the NHL. You're getting in late, and they obviously emptied the tank against the Avalanche, and they just couldn't get anything. They were terrible last night. Like, there is no other way around it. It was a difficult one. They were falling all over the place. They were a mess in their own zone. And let me just tell you one thing, and I don't want to harp on this guy because he's such a really good player, but it was like William Nylander last night. He was back to just like his own program, and you talked about how he was back-checking and dialed in Colorado. He was just off script last night, doing his own thing, wheeling around, and it was like, I might get that one, I might not, and it was like, it can't go from one end of the spectrum to the other like that. It can't.
I felt like it was a playoff game the night before, and then they just showed up. And the one thing that I want to point out, and I said this to you the other day, Utah's a good team. Like, they're not – this isn't Arizona, 6 years ago. Utah's got good young talent. They've got their goaltender leads the league in wins. That Vejmelka. Now, he made a couple good saves, timely saves. The breakaway save on Tavares, it was weird. He just made it look like he was – out for a Sunday stroll.
Glove. It was a weird.
But the goalie didn't move.
He didn't move.
Like, it was a weird. Like, point being is, I think Utah might be a team that would look to add at the deadline and try and that's a playoff team for me, and I think they're a good team. And coming off the night before, I wouldn't say it was a trap game, but you could tell there was a drop in everything, a drop in the intensity, and that Utah team. They played a lot of road games, and now they got a bunch of home games, and they're making hay. They're fast. They move the puck around. They're skilled. They got a little bit of everything. I don't mind that.
No,
team.
they looked good last night, and they were prepared. They were waiting for them. And
exactly.
Listen, we hear the term scheduled loss a lot. That's kind of the definition of one. And I know what people are going to say. Non-Leaf fans. Oh, last night. Yesterday it was the greatest win ever, and now. You got to be reasonable here. Those are 2 back-to-backs, big travel, different time zone. They're playing 10 p.m. Eastern. They're playing 8 local in these games. Yeah. It's they emptied the tank in Colorado, went blow for blow with the best team in the league and won. And the objective flying into Colorado was get 2 points in the first 24 hours, 48 hours. The first 2 games, whether it's you lose to Colorado, beat Utah, lose twice in overtime, beat Colorado, lose to Utah, it's irrelevant. They were 8-0-2 going into it, so they deserve some benefit of the doubt. It was an ugly game. It was over basically 3 minutes in.
Yeah,
when Utah scored, you're like, this game's it's just not going to happen. But now is where you've played that card. You had your scheduled loss. Now you got a day off in Vegas. You're acclimated to the time zone. Vegas is in L.A. playing tonight. You're going to get a 4th-string goalie tomorrow because Hill's out, Carter Hart's out. I think Schmid's going tonight. So you got a 4th-string Vegas goalie, and Vegas is playing tonight on the road. So advantage swings back to the Leafs, and you've got to get it back together. And when we talked about this road trip, 4 games in 6 nights, bunch of different time zones, tough games, 4 or 5 points. You got 2 now. You got to find 2 more in the next 2 games. Anything beyond that is a good trip. That's how you got to isolate this. And there's going to be another one later in the month, I believe it is. You're going through Western Canada and Seattle, 4 games in like 6 nights, and then it's going to be California. Like, you got a few of these where they're going to get pumped a couple times. Like, it's going to happen. They're going to have a back-to-back in the wrong spot. Man. Yeah, and it's just about how you respond. You got to get back on the train quickly because you're not Colorado with points, Minnesota, Carolina with points, Tampa with points. You played, you lost. It's going to happen at some point. Now you got to get back on the horse and play well tomorrow.
Yeah,
have to.
That's really what it is, and it's how you respond. And you're right. Like Vegas, I don't know, the build-up, not the build-up, Marner game, not the Marner game. Vegas is a good team, and they're not just going to roll over. You're right. They play tonight. They're going to come back in their own building. We'll see how they play in L.A. tonight. It's only a short flight. It's a 40-minute flight, so it's not that they're going to be very taxed as far as playing. The play back-to-back's always hard in this league. But you've got to be ready. You've got to be ready tomorrow. And then regardless of what you think going into Winnipeg, is it Winnipeg Saturday?
Winnipeg Saturday, yeah. And
Winnipeg's
they won again
playing
last
better.
night.
Like, that's the one thing that, you look at it, Winnipeg their game seems to have settled down a little bit. They're playing with confidence now. So that's not going to be just a rollover game. So you're right. You've got to find 4 or 5 points, maybe 6 if you could play amazing. If not, you've got to find at least 2 more points in the next 2 games.
For sure. And, tomorrow it'll be interesting. Like, Marner's playing center, and Eichel and Hertl are available. It's just they're playing them up the middle of the ice.
So what? He's their third-line centerman?
Or second line. He's playing with Dorofeyev, so I think it's Riley Smith and him and Dorofeyev. We'll see tonight. I mean, I don't know if Cassidy's committed to it. I don't know if it's going to happen consistently.
I understand the thought process just with how clever he is, but in a different way, I view him as like a Patrick Kane, like a dominating, play-driving winger. I don't – like, I've thought about the idea, just I don't see him as a centerman. I think everybody looks at a player and you have different thoughts over – especially when you watch them as much as we've watched Mitch Marner over his career, watching every shift, every game. I just don't see him as a centerman. I don't know why. Well, maybe a little more freedom on the wing. He's done all of his business his whole career on the wing. I'd like to decide now in his career that he's a centerman. I find weird.
I think he's smart enough and talented enough to play any position. But I see him as a winger as well. Oh, center is a different position because you've got to be guy back down low, supporting the play. Center is a more physical position because you've got to fight for the puck all the time. Marner, to me, is a guy who can get, lost out there in a good way. Go and find open space, create open space with his skill. That's why I think he's always been a dominant winger, is because he draws people towards him and then he distributes the puck. As a centerman, you're in the middle of everything. And I don't know if that will be conducive to the way he likes to play or not. But he's talented enough to play anything. But I see him as a winger as well.
Totally. I mean, he's in year 10. He's a veteran in the league. He hasn't played center at all. And he never had to. When he arrived here, Matthews was here. They had Kadri and Bozak his first year. They had Kadri his second, and Tavares showed up his third. So it was Matthews and Tavares or Kadri or whatever. It was never really a conversation. It was water cooler chat. They tried Willie at the middle of the ice. They didn't really ever try Marner. But I think what it indicates is the way Vegas operates, that it is about the name on the front instead of the name on the back.
Yeah, we're not asking you. We're
telling
you're
playing it. We're going to give it a shot. We want to try it. Doesn't mean he'll stay there. But that was always, an interesting chat in Toronto. Well, how would Mitch feel about? How does Willie feel about it? Is that going to work? What about their headspace? They're being asked about it a lot. In Vegas, man, they don't care. Like they're paying you. They're paying you a lot, and they want you to fit in. But I think a lot of Leaf fans are going to wake up today and tomorrow, like in preparation for the game, and try to figure out what's going on with him. Because he's out of sight, out of mind. When you're in Vegas, that's gone, man. They haven't played him. They're playing at 10 o'clock every night. It's a totally different experience. And, he's got 10 goals, about a point a game, playing 20 minutes, playing some center, playing on the second line. it's a transition. And Jonas wrote an article in the Athletic today. I guess he went there in December and caught up with him for a couple of days, which I'm sure Marner loved when he saw Jonas walking through that door.
Jonas gets off the plane?
Oh,
really?
yeah. I'm coming in, and I'm coming in hot. And he wrote, I thought it was a really interesting article about trying to identify the transition for Marner, because it's got to be difficult. He's from here. His wife's from here. They got a young kid. They're in Vegas. You don't know anyone there. It's a different world. You're in a different country.
Everything's different.
Everything's
with the team,
different.
The way they do business, all of it.
I think there's a lot. I think there's pros and cons to everything. I will say he probably has a different life and maybe a quieter life, which, he always talked about it. And I played the Canadian market. So did you. Like going for dinners, all of that type of stuff. You have to plan for it in a Canadian market, especially when you're a star. Not me. You might have, but me not. If I was with Jerome McGinley, absolutely. The point is you get a lot more attention in Canadian market. Yeah. In Vegas, I guarantee you, him and his wife and kid go for dinner. Probably, they get to
Jamie, the way I described it yesterday, Brian asked me, he said, do you think he regrets his decision? And I said, I don't think the word regret is involved, but I would bet sometimes he misses it. Like, big win on Saturday night and you want to go have a couple beers with your – it's just – I don't know. I found that to be pretty cool. Like, just when things are going good and you're Mitch Marner in Toronto, it was probably pretty good. I know there was nonsense that happened that he hated. I would just, if I were to bet, I would say he misses it to some degree. Sometimes. Some things about it.
I'm sure there's things there. Yeah, sorry.
I mean, it was his room, like he was very comfortable here too. And like he was chasing record books. It was his team and all that kind of stuff. And you guys can both speak to it also as veterans. If you're a kid, if you're a rookie joining a new team, the vets take you under their wing and they're like, all right, you're a kid, we'll you got no family here. When you're 28, like Mark Stone's got a wife and kids. He's not saying, yeah, let's go out and party tonight. It's a different transition when you join a team as a veteran as opposed to maybe as a rookie, or if it's your room. And Mitch will get there. If he's there for 8 years, it'll feel like his room. It probably does now, more than it did at the start of the year. It will, I'm sure, in a couple of years. And obviously winning will be a big factor in that. That's been a consistent theme this week we've talked about. For the Leafs, Vegas, anyone else, if you win, everything feels better. Everything feels different. And, that's where obviously the Leafs are at right now, last night notwithstanding. You start winning again and you can move on. And it opens up the spotlight for other guys. Matthew Nyes plays a bigger role in the spotlight of the city. Joseph Woll can play a bigger role, and I think ultimately we'll talk about it between now and tomorrow night, and certainly by next Friday when he rolls back through town. It was the right play. Something had to change here. It was the right play for Marner to leave. Go find where you want to find. I think it was better for him. It's better for the team. They had to have a different feel. You got to have a different identity. You had to. The one narrative
that drives me nuts is when people, I'll just tweet about something and then some dork sends me a message saying, you drove Marner out of town. I'm like, what are you the idea that the media drove Marner out of town, I think, is the craziest thing I've ever heard in my life. No. The craziest.
Well, he's a big boy, too. Why would he want that? He made a decision.
Well, you're telling me you've never heard that stupid narrative?
Of course,
the media
I get it
drove
all the time.
Yeah,
of course.
Didn't Brad Marchand say it last week or 2 weeks ago? I mean, I think it's unfair to just say one word. The media, the fan. You know what you could say? It's an intense city with a lot of attention. Mm-hmm. But just like anything, just like Philadelphia is, just like New York is, just like Dallas with the Cowboys, it is an intense city. There's lots of coverage. And it is a lot different than other settings. Oh, you came from Carolina to Toronto. You can actually explain the difference of the attention and all of that. Now, it's for some people. Others, I've talked to former Leafs that have said, I loved it for 5 years. After a while, I grew tired. I grew tired of the attention. I grew tired of the – and it wasn't – it's not the pressure. It's the pressure you put your on yourself as a player in that. But you speak to coming from Carolina to Toronto. It's a different life. That's really what it is.
The one thing that people do around here, I think the players do it, and it's a big-time mistake or a misunderstanding. I think they loop Twitter trolls with the media. Do you know what I mean? Like they take heat on Twitter from bozos on Twitter, and it's like those people are the media. That's not the media.
No, the average fan, for that matter, and the average experience. Like, the reality is a lot of interaction online is non-Leaf fans, too, that hate on the Leafs and, can't wait to jump on them. And I get it. That's a big part of the sports, culture in the country. Is you either love or hate them. You know, there's some teams in this country, I won't name them, but they're, their fans love them, but other people aren't like, I hate those fans or I hate that team. They just don't have the same profile. And it's deeply rooted. Original Six, Hockey Night, they were the only team on, and, all that kind of stuff, and what comes with it, the amount of coverage, et cetera, et cetera. So you're right, though. Social media is you get caught down that rabbit hole, and you're like, oh, what does this mean? And you extrapolate, and et cetera, et cetera.
But that's what it does. It gets noisy. It amplifies anything, any story. Again, when I was playing this, I'm dating myself, but you guys know I played a long time ago. There wasn't Twitter. You watched TV or you read the paper the next day. It wasn't instantaneous opinions from everybody, instantaneous coaching from everybody.
Right.
That's what I think the biggest adjustment for some of these players. And it's not even the players. What it is the players hear from the parents and the wife and the best friend. And some of these wives and girlfriends are Instagram stars, and they got to be at the rink and in the corner taking pictures with the baby and all that. Like it's a different world. And as an old man, I've had to adjust to it because there's times where I'm in between the benches and warm up, and I'm going, man, I think of some of the coaches I had. They would crawl the glass and attack some of the players are going, why is your, wife in the corner with your kid and you're standing there waving to him instead of getting ready for the game? It's just different. Life is different, and I think that's the way you have to adjust to it. But it's, I think his life in Vegas would be a lot different, and you're right, I think there's things he would miss, but I also think there's things that he welcomes where it's just a different approach to life.
It's a new lease on life. Yep. It's a different, he's a great player. He's had a great career. And ultimately it will be determined on how the teams perform in the future, right? If Vegas wins, if the Leafs win or lose, it'll have an effect on maybe how we look back on everything. But you're right about the approach to social media. Like, even Aaron Rodgers the other night was referencing that on the way out. Likely his final press conference, he's chastising Twitter trolls,
media members
who
think they know everything.
Yeah, it's like, man, that's a 42-year-old man. That is a 42-year-old who was genuinely affected by it. You could tell that wasn't him protecting somebody. That was him.
You don't make the comment if you're not affected by it.
Exactly. And he's aware of it, and he sees it, and he knows it, and he doesn't like it. And, that is the reality of where we're at with pro sports. All right, Jesse Palmer coming up on the divisional weekend. Oh, you'll have the first question. You can get out there and you can ask, right? You can ask, are the Seahawks going to get, pump the Niners? Are the Bills going to get pumped? And
that'll be the very first question. I'm going to lay out a scenario for him, and I want to get his initial reaction. But you got to make me a deal. If he agrees with me, we're rolling with it.
Okay. All right, I like
deal?
That. Demidov, I think we might be onto something.
Demigod.
I'm more of a Schaefer guy.
Demigod.
Always been a Schaefer guy myself, but I appreciate how great that kid is in Montreal as well.
Very good,
all right, so we got more games in the NHL tonight. Palmer coming up. Pete DeBoer, role play in about an hour. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and up on YouTube Live.
Scotty's Tournament of Hearts on TSN. Now, back to Overdrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
You guys see that stinky old Tony Romo is now claiming he was sick on the weekend?
I did not see that. No, is Tony getting out in front of it? Because he's still got work to do, right? Tony's calling games this week and I believe the following week.
Yeah, I just saw an announcement on Awful Announcing where Romo claims he was sick. That's why it was bizarre things going on. And I'm just like, why would you even bother? Like
on medication type of thing? Like
don't
saying
know.
like was he saying weird things out of the normal? Like
Noodles, I don't know if like one of his reps got to him and said, look, man, it's like anything else. Like you got to get out and you got to come up with something here because people are just destroying you.
He was taking a lot of heat.
Dude,
a lot of
immense.
Heat. Again,
immense.
social media, so, take that for what it's worth. But I've always I like Romo. Like, I've always found him, he's a likable guy. I like his energy, his approach. When he came on the scene, it was like, whoa, what is this? Where is he going? He's so excited. And I found that very captivating.
Yeah.
Now, over the weekend, there was some weird calls and there was some weird stuff.
There's like stuff that
on.
goes on where old Jimmy Boy will say like, "Hey, you think there, Tony?" And Tony Romo will be like, I kind of don't know, and I don't. Maybe it was this, and maybe it was that. It was like, what the hell are you talking about, man?
He sounded subdued. And the thing is about football games, there's 30 million people watching in the States.
Yeah,
and you got the one game. Like Noodles, you call a million games. If you have a bad call, you're like, all right, I'm calling another one tomorrow night.
Exactly.
Whatever.
Bounce back.
Yeah, there's no immediate bounce back, and it's such a
saying
high
this,
profile.
Hayes, I thought the GOAT, Tom Brady, was, I think the jump that he's made from year 1 to year 2, fantastic.
Yeah, I agree
You
with
didn't believe in Tom, though.
I was not a big believer in Tom.
He doesn't believe in anybody. The only person he believes in, Jamie, is himself. Let's bring in a real broadcaster. Let's go.
A real broadcaster.
Right.
All right, here he is. This guy. How about this, Jesse? Jesse Palmer joining us. Just taking heat, man. I'm trying to just do my thing here, and these guys, no support for me. It's very disappointing.
It's great seeing you guys. You're just catching strays over there, Hayes, all day. It's like stray hay over there. It's just friendly fire coming from every direction.
No kidding. Well, I mean, you've called a bunch of games. You've done studio work. You've done it all. What's it like being in the booth for like a big game, and there's millions of people watching?
I mean, it's exciting. It's nerve-wracking for sure. But it's just like when you play, I think you just have to sort of remind yourself that it's still just a game. I think it's important in that job to treat every game like it's the biggest game of the week. I mean, there's a lot of games you call where there's nobody at home watching. And sometimes those are the ones that, you take your foot off the gas a little bit, and those are ones that you can make the biggest mistakes in. So I think it's just an approach of knowing, I don't think you prepare more for the big game than you do a smaller game. You should prepare a lot for all the games and just kind of go into it as prepped as you can be and just try to be as present and just try to be a fan and just think about the fans at home and what they want to know and what they want you to talk about. I think those are things you got to think about.
What do you think of the criticism Romo's getting, Jesse? You think it's kind of warranted, or you don't comment on what other people do, or just what are your thoughts on it?
It's hard for me to do because I just don't know what Tony's prep is and sort of what his process is. I know everybody has that. And I think for broadcasters, just like for players, I think there's ups and downs. And I think there's a lot of excitement around Tony, certainly when he started his career, and some of the fresh perspective and the fresh energy and diagramming plays before they happen and all that sort of thing. And he's been at it a long time now, and Tony's called a lot of big time games, and he works with one of the best in the business in Jim Nantz. And it's kind of hard to say. I mean, I enjoy watching him every week. I enjoy watching all the guys. I sort of appreciate everybody's different approach to it and different style. And you kind of take it that way. Was that the most Canadian answer ever?
Yeah, very Canadian.
Very Canadian.
I want to present this scenario to you because I am on a team with Hayes here who was catching strays, and he basically takes suggestions for who he thinks is going to win, and then he just goes into a room, locks the door, and he said, I don't care what you guys think, but let me present this scenario for you. The Seahawks blow out the 49ers, and the Broncos blow out the Bills. Thoughts on that?
Yeah. Okay. Well, so here's the thing. With Seattle, if Sam Darnold doesn't turn it over, I could see them winning convincingly in that game. I really could. Turnovers have been the biggest problem for him, obviously. He led the NFL with 20 giveaways throughout the regular season, and their run defense is outstanding. And they took away Christian McCaffrey in the final game of the regular season to lock up the 1 seed because of the defense, because of the 12s, playing at home. Decimated Niners defense, no George Kittle. I mean, I could see, I could see Seahawks. I could see it. I could see the Seahawks winning by a lot. Everything on paper tells me the Broncos are going to win by a lot. Except the only thing, I don't know if any of you guys are as big a believer in him as I am too, or just it always forces you to pause. But the Josh Allen factor to me, is crazy. It is, and it's like I know, like I'm very aware of how good Denver's defense is and how good that pass rush is and what that's going to be like playing at home and how the noise impacts that and affects that. Also, Josh Allen's receiving core is completely decimated right now. Josh Palmer goes to IR on Saturday before the game. They lose Gabe Davis a few plays before that. And he's shorthanded here, and he's thrown to a guy that wasn't on the team a couple of weeks ago right there in the double move, and Brandon Cooks. And he's just found a way. And great players, somehow, some way, they just find a way to rise up and elevate those around him. In that game, when Josh Allen was trailing, he was 14 of 17 and accounted for 3 touchdown passes. And so, you know, if you said, hey, what's the biggest advantage Buffalo has in this one? I feel pretty good knowing what I'm going to get from Josh Allen. I don't really know what I'm going to get from Bo Nix, though, just because I haven't seen him play a lot in the postseason. He's been outstanding. He's been great. And for a second-year player, the guy's been phenomenal. And I'm a huge believer in Sean Payton. He was my coach, my offensive coordinator, my first 2 years in the league in New York. But the Josh Allen thing, man, I just feel like he, at minimum, keeps that thing close.
Staying with quarterbacks, any concern about Stafford in the cold weather in Chicago?
No. I mean, the injuries and you know, he's a guy that played in that division a long time, obviously played in the Dome in Detroit all those years, but he's played a lot of cold games in Chicago. He's played a lot of cold games in Green Bay throughout his career. I'm not as concerned about that, especially just his experience, the MVP caliber he's played out all year. I'm not worried about that. Now, Chicago's defense has been incredible with takeaways this year and taking the ball away. That's something that I think Matt Stafford has to be careful of. I don't know, man. I feel like if Chicago could find a way to start faster, if they could find a way to put 4 quarters together, I think they could win the whole thing. I mean, they're the best second half team, I think, in the NFL. And Caleb Williams just keeps competing until there's zeros on the clock. But they got to get DeAndre Swift in that backfield going soon, early against the Rams, because, I mean, he's got, 7 fourth quarter comeback wins now? That's the most of any NFL quarterback before the age of 25 or something. You gotta start fast against Matthew Stafford. I'm not worried about Stafford so much as I am Chicago starting slow.
With Jesse Palmer, and I mean, this year it's the consistent theme from the majority of fans has been like there's no clear-cut favorite. But I think with your assessment of the Bears would suggest to me there's no clear-cut, 8th seed, so to speak. Like I think all these teams can win this weekend. And if that's the case, I guess I have to believe they can win the championship weekend and roll it into the Super Bowl. Do you see it the same way, that it's truly a crapshoot right now?
Yeah, I mean, and it's crazy. I woke up this morning and I was just kind of looking at the games again, and I mean, I feel like every single game is intriguing for different reasons. Like, there's not one game that I look at and go, oh, that's a guarantee win for this team, because, like, in New England, even as good as Drake Maye has been, I can't wait to watch New England-Houston just because I want to see Drake Maye against that defense and against that pass rush, and right. Another guy who's relatively inexperienced, right, who you've seen a lot of really good things from this year in the regular season, but, in the postseason, I think it's a different question. We talked about San Francisco and Seattle, and we talked a little bit about Chicago as well, and I just think all of these games are intriguing for different reasons. In Seattle and San Francisco, it's no different. It's just, my old coach, Jim Fossil, used to say with the Giants, he used to tell us, and we were not a good team, but he used to tell us, it's not the best team that wins. It's the team that plays the best. And I think that's true this weekend for any of these teams. Everyone's talented. Everyone can win, whoever makes the fewest mistakes. And that's so cliche to say. But I think it's in any sport. I think that's true, especially come this time of the season and playoffs. If you limit the mistakes, you're going to give yourself a chance.
Jesse, you just mentioned New England and Drake Maye. Is his inexperience why people assessing them or betting on them or liking them, they don't kind of want to go all in because they just don't know with him?
Maybe. I think that's, we talked about the Josh Allen factor versus the Bo Nix factor. And I think you could say the same thing about Drake Maye in that sense as well. Vrabel has energized that team in a way that is, it's really unique. The physicality, obviously, some of the free agent moves they did have changed a lot of things too. I have a hard time believing Drake's just going to completely implode. He's just been so good and so locked in. Him and Josh McDaniel are just on the same page. It's crazy to think, over the course of a season, an offensive play caller, the rhythm and cadence they develop with their quarterback is obviously a huge factor, and it's key. And for them, this being really the only year they work together, from week one up until this point now, it's just night and day difference. I think you can say the same thing about Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams too, actually. And so, for me, I think Drake Maye's the real deal. I really do. But this Houston defense is a different animal too now. And Anderson and Hunter and some of these creatures coming off the edge, I mean, they create problems. And so it's that for me, that's one of the most intriguing matchups of the weekend.
Yeah, that defense, they're going to get after him, man. They are going to get after him like they got after Aaron Rodgers. And I'm curious what you think happens with Rodgers. Do you think this is it? And if so, does he just kind of fade into retirement? Do you see him having a public profile? What's your read on Aaron Rodgers?
I mean, if history tells us anything, we'll be talking about this for another, 8 months.
Yeah.
If he reports to camp where he's going to sign, if he retires, unretires, I don't know. I feel like this is it. I think he said earlier this year, I think that this was probably the end for him. I think we've sort of seen this in the past with great quarterbacks sort of kind of fizzling out in their last playoff game in a wild card round or a divisional round and then calling it a day. I know we've done, I feel like we've done this for 3 straight years now, but I feel like this time it's different. I think this is probably the end of the road.
It's not getting any better, man.
No, it probably won't. And at the end, we're in this world of rings and comparing players and legacies. And I've seen it already, reviewing his career. He's got 1 ring, and it was back in 2010, I believe, 2011. Do you feel like, did he get jobbed? Should he have more? How do you look back on the legacy of Aaron Rodgers?
Top 5 quarterback all time in terms of talent, for sure. In terms of his ability to throw it. It's funny. So after, or I think it was yesterday, I was just on YouTube watching Aaron Rodgers highlights and watching some of the throws he's made throughout the course of his career. It's unbelievable. He won 4 MVPs. And when he was at his best, there was a stretch of 10 years or 8 years where it was 74% completion, and he was easily the most dominant player on the field. I think, I think we live in it. I don't know how you guys feel about this. I feel like today we're so quick to say that everything today is the greatest of all time. I don't know if you guys do this in hockey ever, but I feel like in basketball we do it. Certainly in football we do it. The GOATs are always guys who are playing right now or in the last 5 years. And it's a lot of people who lose perspective on what it was like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. I cover a lot of college football. And I talk to a lot of college players, and we talk about quarterbacks they look up to. And these guys have never seen Dan Marino or John Elway or Joe Montana, or they don't know. Some of them don't know who Joe Namath is. And Aaron Rodgers to me is sort of one of those generational talents. Forgetting how he's looked the last couple of years. But when you go back and you looked at his career in Green Bay and all the things he did and what he accomplished, the Super Bowl, obviously. But to me, top 5 talent, no question.
Yeah, honestly, man. He never threw picks. He had an aura to him that was incredible. And they knocked on the door a lot. Like he was in the championship game multiple times, and he didn't perform at his best in some of the biggest games too. I mean, he's got to own it as well. It's not just the Packers were the ones that did give him the opportunity. There were chances for him to step up in bigger games, and it didn't happen. But I agree with your assessment. I think that's probably the end of the road. What about Mike Tomlin? Do you see media for a year back into coaching? Because I remember Bill Cowher, the same chat, right? Bill's going to go into media, and then he'll return. He never did. He got very comfortable in media, still doing it. You think Tomlin might just get in there and settle in and never go back?
Yeah, maybe. I know just talking to Herm Edwards, John Gruden, a lot of guys that have done it in the past, I don't think they ever expect to like media as much as they do. And I think for coaches, it's such a grind, the day-to-day schedule, and just the inability to have time to yourself, to have time for your family, for your wife, for kids, to travel, do anything. You're just constantly at it. And I think a guy like Mike Tomlin obviously is always going to have a competitive itch and want to compete for championships. And he's a motivator of many. He's a guy that, you ask any player I think that's ever played for Mike Tomlin, they'll tell you just how great he was, how relatable he was to the team, to the locker room, et cetera. And it's a huge part of his success. But absolutely. I mean, I could see him having tons of success in the TV world, opportunity to make a lot of money today in TV as well, in the role that he would get, because he's one of those coaches at a profile that a big network would open a chair for. There's only a finite amount of those seats, right? And you can count on one hand how many networks or streaming services are showing NFL football week in, week out in those big markets. And so to me, he gets one of those seats. He could make a lot of money, could really love the schedule. And then when the right opportunity pops up for him, he takes it if he wants. But he was at that. How many years was it? 19 years
18,
in Pittsburgh?
18 in
18.
Pitt, yeah.
That's a grind, man. And he's, he deserves some time off. But I'm sure he'll be great at TV. But I'm sure a big part of him is going to want to get back to.
Absolutely. He is Jesse Palmer. Enjoy the weekend, Jesse. Always appreciate you doing this. We'll do it again soon.
You got it, guys. Appreciate you. We'll see you.
There he is, Jesse Palmer. So, do you feel vindicated? Do you feel – because I'm not sure he gave you the exact answer you were looking for.
He gave you a Canadian answer.
Somewhat diplomatic. Could see the
fence.
Seahawks doing it.
Why don't you just do me a favor right now? Get your little phone and read the message that Al's brother just sent to the group text and read it out loud.
Okay. Al's brother, 3 minutes ago. Bills are now a 1.5 point dog. Line is completely flipped since noon. So are you indicating you have flipped the line? You came on here and said Denver big, and FanDuel spiraled out of control and said we got to flip the line here.
Wales from Singapore are calling.
Wales from Singapore are calling you up for information. Okay. All right. That's an interesting now you're getting plus points with the Bills. Also
be
compelling.
Careful there.
Also
I don't know.
compelling.
Is AB back on Canadian soil,
Yes,
or is
he's
him
here, yeah. He's here. He's got another cruise, I think, next week. But
Dude, get that guy. I want to speak. Forget about whatever we're doing at 5:45. Get that guy on the horn.
Okay. We can get him on and reset. Okay, we got to do that because we got role play coming up. Maybe we'll do role play tomorrow. We can do role play whenever we want.
I just want to hear what this guy has to say. Like it's been too long. I want a cruise update. Can we marry him on the show?
Okay.
Yeah.
All of it.
I like that idea. We'll see what
do
he's
it.
doing. He might be at a card expo right now and not available. I mean, that is possible, right? There's a very good chance that he's running some card operation. But Pete DeBoer coming up. We'll see if we can find Al's brother. We might have to make some golf picks. Right? We got the Sony starting tomorrow. Might have to sneak in some golf picks.
Absolutely. I would love to do that.
Yes. All right. So we'll do that as well. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 4.
Now, back to Overdrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
All right, Pete DeBoer in about 10 minutes. Again, we got the Sony Open starting tomorrow in Hawaii. Russell Henley is a favorite, big favorite on FanDuel. Interesting. Russell
What's Stinky
Henley.
VJ rated? Has he got any?
Let me look that up and see if I can find a number on. VJ is plus. Is that
5,000.
$1 million or plus 100,000?
Plus 100,000?
Plus 100,000. I was going to say plus $1 million seems a little bit rich. Like maybe he
I'd
puts
put
it
a
together.
dollar on that. Would you put a dollar on it?
Sure. I mean, I don't. VJ's not making the cut, Noodles. You know, I just
Dude,
don't.
if
see
you're
that.
Beach could turn
100%
down the
sure.
clock, if
Yes.
Beach could turn back the clock and roll the rock with that big broomstick and the Honka shoes, you never know.
Maybe he makes the weekend. Maybe you got to be getting huge plus money
That's
on the
what
weekend.
we should be
though.
doing, because you guys know, for the most part, like you've got your favorites and all that. What you should be doing is choosing one crazy pick a year.
Yes.
Like one crazy pick per tournament going,
You're right.
VJ to make the cut. Not to win or anything, like this guy to make the cut.
Okay, I like that
Right.
idea. We get down with that.
Where's
we'll take a
our-
look.
I
at
think
it.
VJ on that
guy.
golf course can make the cut, man. He still hits it a pretty good way. He grinds on the range.
Yeah,
Beach,
you know he's
man.
working. Like you know he's there working. He's probably been there for a month working on his game. All right, we'll see if anyone's got the stones to take VJ in the next hour.
Yeah,
We'll make some picks.
One of my claims to fame in golf is, like, you know how you're just a golf freak, you love golfers? I took a leak beside VJ at the at TPC Sawgrass, and I just saw, like, I didn't want to say like, "Hey, VJ," but I'm telling you, that guy was there from 6 in the morning. We played 36 that day, and he left when we did because we played 36, and he just waits range. And then he just wheels around on a golf cart and tells people to get out of the way. He's coming through, and he just played TPC Sawgrass all day long.
That's unreal.
Dude, insane what that guy's routine was.
Yeah, that takes some stones, man, because it costs a lot of money to play Sawgrass. To tell people you're out of the way while
Dude.
I'm coming through.
Well, it's the player's course. I'll never forget. There was like you drive up to the starters, and Veach drives up with this cart, and there's a giant barrel of range balls in his cart. And I don't think that the starter might have been new on the scene. And he goes, "Sir, you just have to wait. These people are going to tee off." And there was a couple pylons, and Veach goes, "Move those pylons right now." He went ahead of us and teed off.
I love
And
it.
the starter was like, "No, you got to wait." These guys, he goes, "Move the cones," and the guy just moved the cones, and Veach went off.
Has
and
he
did
ever
his
won
thing.
the Players? VJ?
No.
Okay,
No.
so I mean you're not even a championship at the course.
Yeah.
Still, it's a baller move. You don't want VJ, right on your ass the whole round either. Like if you're a foursome and he's a single behind you, you know how intimidating that would be.
No, I'm not playing. I'm waving him up.
Right through, please, VJ. Go ahead,
Right
take your
through.
range balls and get out of here. All right, so more on that into the next hour. Peter DeBoer leaves at Vegas tomorrow, coming off a bad loss in Utah last night. Ottawa with a win there in New York tonight. So there's a lot to get into with Pete. Overdrive continues, TSN 1050 and on TSN 4.
Scotty's Tournament of Hearts on TSN. This is OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog on TSN 1050.
Hour 2 OverDrive continues, powered by FanDuel, bringing you everything from the opening line to the final score. We got Pete DeBoer coming up in a few moments. I think we've tracked down Al's brother, so he may make a rare appearance. Catch up with him and see where his head's at. We're trying to flush this out, right? We got a big week of picks. We're down 4-2, right? We all need to be on the same page.
You are right about
here.
that. If you're going to pick something, you got to get it right. But I'm telling you right now, I got a feeling. I got a feeling, and if I were you guys, I would give me one. I would give me one of the two selections.
I think that's reasonable. Okay, I think that's reasonable. We'll flush it out. We'll catch up with Al's brother. And again, Pete DeBoer in a moment. Pete's a big part of the Team Canada staff, and Braden Point now out week to week. There's some concerns he may not make it to the Olympics. What
do you think of the idea that they're floating around where it's like? And this isn't exactly the point, but it's like similar type player replaces Braden Point. So it's like the Wyatt Johnson, Bedard types are in there. What I also can't figure out how Bedard is just not even he's not even on basically a list. He's on a list, but I thought it was a green light if this Braden Point can't go. Like Sam Bennett, hello, it's us again. You up?
Yeah. I mean, I guess we'll find out. We'll see what Pete has to say about that. But I'm with you. I don't think there's a wrong answer. Like, I would have had Bennett on that team. But if you put, Wyatt Johnston on there, if you put even Konechny or, Seth Jarvis was there at the Four Nations, like a right shot, crafty player, you're going to be okay. They're going to be fine. They're going to survive without Point. It sucks if he's not going to be there. But, he was likely to be a depth player on this team.
I think you're now. Is it clear that Sam Bennett didn't even get a call saying you're on the taxi squad, be available?
No, I believe he's on that.
Yeah,
he's on that.
So that's what I'm saying.
He's on the radar.
There's going to be injuries, unfortunately, leading up to that and all of this type of stuff. So it wouldn't surprise me if Bennett was on it, or a player like you say, a Wyatt Johnston, something like that. I look at it and it just sucks. Tampa's been rolling regardless, with Point, without Point, but you're looking at big picture. Tampa Bay, as much as they care about their players going to the Olympics, they want to be, they've been rinsed the last couple of years. How many, 3-4 years now has it been, where they haven't really gone deep into the playoffs? Has it been 3 years now?
Yeah.
Leafs
the
got
last
them,
few years, yeah.
And then Florida's, so for me, this is a team that, I thought that they were constructed and looked pretty good. We're seeing it now.
You're right. Yeah, they don't lose, man.
Well, I mean, listen, this is a great streak. The one thing that I always liked on paper, they don't even have Hedman right now. Mm-hmm. Now you're going to be missing Point. And Kucherov, it took him a while to wake up, and now the guy is ridiculous. But I look at it.
He's good.
He's so good. But I have this argument with a buddy of mine, and I always say the argument starts at 5. You've got McKinnon, McCarr, McDavid, Draisaitl, and then who's 5th? Mm-hmm. That's where I always feel like that's the argument. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, I think that's reasonable. It's crazy. They're teammates. They're on two teams.
Yeah. Right. But I feel like I always my comment is the argument starts at 5, and maybe it's Kucherov.
And
maybe
it might be Kucherov. It might be. It might be Celebrini the way he's playing this year.
Oh my God, he's playing unbelievable.
It could be
Celebrini. And guys, we're talking about replacing Braden Point, and who is it going to be? We talk about big picture stuff like McCarr, McDavid, McKinnon, Sid. Those guys are going to be wheeling around shift after shift.
Yeah.
It's their tournament. Those are the guys that are going to get it done for you. Obviously, the other players are important. You need role players. You need a Mark Stone to make a big play, a big pass. Mitch Marner, same thing. But those are your big dogs. All those guys are going to be driving the bus for Canada, man.
They got to get to the tournament. Wow. You can replace depth. You can't replace McDavid.
Dude, or Sid.
Or Sid, yeah, exactly. Those guys they're at the top of their game right now. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I even look in net. Bennington, I think it's his net, but maybe a shorter leash because Hofer's playing really well for St. Louis. Hofer's 10-9-3 at last I checked. like he's getting minutes off of Binnington in St. Louis, which, good young goaltender, but, your bigger picture, you want your goaltenders feeling good about their game heading into the Olympics. It might be Logan Thompson that gets a cleaner look.
Yeah, for
right?
sure. Absolutely. His numbers have been great. He's played really well, and he's on the team.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I mean, we're getting close. We're inside a month now. Only a few weeks away. Here's a guy that'll be on the bench for Canada, longtime NHL head coach. Love having him on. Here's Pete DeBoer. How you doing, Pete?
Hey guys, how we doing?
Doing pretty well. Are you in Milan right now? Where are you?
Got my tape measuring the size of the rink. No, I'm a little R&R here before we take off in 2 weeks for Milan. So just getting excited and ready to go.
Pete, what kind of reports back? I know Chris Johnston with us has been over there. Like, what kind of reports are you guys getting about the rink? Like, how? Like, I don't know, did those guys just figure out like a couple months ago the Olympics were starting or what? Like, I have no idea how we're at this point. But what are you guys hearing back about the rink?
So, what we've heard is the ice surface, the boards, the structure of the rink is going to be fine. I think amenities, dressing rooms, concession stands. I don't think you can count on many of those things being in a good place, but it's going to be doable, and we're going to play hockey, and you know what it's like. Once those guys get their skates on and get out on the ice surface, whether they got to walk to the ice surface from a dressing room, 100 feet away, or whether they're in an NHL dressing room. Once they drop the puck at the game, I think everything's going to be great.
So, Pete, you heard us probably before you came on, us breaking down, potential replacements, guys like that. Is it a lot more stressful than you think, as far as you've got such a wealth of experience and a wealth of players to draw off of, and now you see a guy like Braden Point that might be a question mark? These are the type of conversations you have to have behind the scenes. Okay, if this guy's out, now who are we looking at to plug and play in potentially his role?
Yeah, well, I think those are exactly the conversations going on. I think when we built the team, honestly, we spent most of our time getting those 14 forwards, those 8 defensemen, those 3 goalies named. We spent a lot of time, and especially on the last spots. We didn't spend a lot of time at that point on, if so-and-so gets hurt, what happens if so-and-so gets hurt. But we did build that next list of guys to cover off almost any situation, whether you want physicality, whether you want scoring and power play, whether you want, defense face-offs. I think we've got all that on that list somewhere. It's just going to be, who gets to come if we need them. And listen, there's no, it hasn't been decided yet whether Braden Point needs to be replaced. But I can tell you, we're all sitting on pins and needles because there's a lot of hockey left to be played before we leave, and it might not be the only guy that needs to be replaced.
With Pete DeBoer, and we were talking about the guys at the top. Point's a great player, great winner, but McDavid and McKinnon are still healthy. And as of now, they're going. And the way those two are playing every single night, how do you envision this playing out, Pete? Are they on separate lines exclusively? Do you dream up and you and Cooper and the other guys try to figure out how you get them on the ice at the same time at different opportunities? Because this is magic for a coach. I can't. This is Gretzky, Lemieux in '87. Like, you got these two guys coming in, and they are on heaters right now. So how do you handle those two in particular?
Yeah, you know what? I think a lot of fantasy hockey conversations when you talk with the coaches about different looks. I think it's going to be situational. Are you down in a game? Do you need a goal? Are the lines looking stagnant? Are we not getting anything going? Are we looking for a spark? The thing is, with this group, you have all kinds of options, and that's a nice spot for a coach to be in. And I think all those things you're talking about are going to be on the table. I think the ability to throw out a line driven by McDavid and a line driven by McKinnon, though, is pretty appealing, as a matchup.
Pete, did anything get your attention at the Four Nations? Just like, I'll give you an example. I went to one of the practices there out in Brassard, and McKinnon got the puck in the neutral zone, and it was like the whole building started to shake. Just the momentum that this guy, it was. I've seen a lot of stuff in the game, but watching that guy skate, he is just so powerful. It was incredible to watch.
Yeah. And you know what? I mean, I've coached against him in the division for years. In the conference in San Jose, we got him in the playoffs, so he can take over a game. He wants the puck every time he steps on the ice. He's dangerous every time he steps on the ice, and he plays with such a power in his game. He can run you over. He's not afraid of any physicality. He can go through you or around you. He can score from distance, or in close. He's got that one-timer on the power play. So many weapons.
With Pete DeBoer and having your best players, playing their best hockey, it's been a consistent conversation in Toronto for the last year and a half with Austin Matthews. And, he had a down year last year. He had a tough start. And now he's really cooking. Like, he's flying every night. I thought he played really well last night, even though they got blown out in Utah. As a coach, how unsettling is it for everything if your best player isn't playing at their best?
Yeah. Well, that's, it can cost you your job, right? I mean, that's as unsettling as it gets.
Yeah, I'd say so.
That's the reality, that's the reality of it. And, we are at the mercy of making, we've got to win games. And in this league, in the NHL, you don't win games unless your best players are your best players. You can do it for small portions of the season here and there. You can do it with some structure. But the guys you're paying, have to deliver most nights or you're not going to win in that league.
Right. And in terms of, the conversations you'd have daily with a player of that status, does that even happen in the NHL? You're not giving pep talks to a guy who's scored 69 goals in a game. He's 28 years old.
You'd be surprised. I tell people all the time, I think the hockey, pro sports in general, not just hockey, it breeds insecurity. There's a lot of insecurity amongst the best athletes in the world, not just hockey players. And that's bred because, of the expectation of social media, of what they're getting paid, of fans. These guys have a lot more insecurities than you think. And, there's a lot more of those conversations than you think because of that.
Obviously, you're following the league, but if you take a look at the schedule this season, because of it condensed, have you noticed a difference in the product nightly and maybe some of the effort levels, some of the players, just based on either, them worn out, the travel, 4 games in 6 nights in 3 different cities, that type of stuff? Have you noticed a difference in this season compared to others?
You know what I've noticed? With the big players, I've noticed it's an Olympic year because those guys have all answered the bell. Anybody that's in the Olympic conversation, there's very few guys that didn't deliver the first half of the year, including the young guys that have put themselves on the radar, including Celebrini, who's on the team. I saw a real motivated group of Olympians that were trying to show, hey, I want to be a part of it. And that shows you how important the Olympics are to NHL players. I mean, it's not a secret, but, it was a big part of their negotiations with the last NHL Players Association and NHL agreement, how important it was. And I think that's what I've seen the first half of the year. Is the condensed schedule starting to wear on some teams? I think it's inevitable that happens, especially when you get into this part of the meat of the schedule. And it's condensed even more in January because we are breaking for 3 weeks. So I think you just cross your fingers that you can get through without injury.
with Pete DeBoer. Are you an Olympic Village guy, Pete? Like, what's the plan over there? When you
I
guys
am.
get there?
I'm all in. I'm all in. I
Yeah.
can stay at a Ritz anytime. I'm going. When else do you get to? When else do you get to go to an Olympic Village and get that experience? So this is a once in a lifetime experience for me. I think I told people before. I'm from immigrant parents. They're both first generation, second generation farmers from northern Manitoba. One was Dutch, one was Ukrainian. The fact that I'm getting to go to an Olympics representing Canada, to my family is huge, and I'm going to try and take every experience I can in. And I was on the Beijing staff, and we didn't get to go. So this is an exciting time for me and my family, and I'm going to try and to soak it all in.
Absolutely. That's great. I mean, some of the stories you hear out of the Village it's a wild scene. Keep your head on a swivel, Pete. It's a wild scene over there, man.
I think they better worry about me, not me worry about them.
That's right. Exactly. They'll hear you're coming. They know you're en route. Well, we can't wait to see you guys over there. Best of luck, Pete. We really appreciate you doing this, and we'll do it again soon.
Thanks, fellas. Cheers.
You got it. Peter DeBoer, who is a big part of the Canadian staff and going over there.
And there's there's always I think in the past they've had like the Canadian beer fridge where you got to swipe your passport and it opens.
Yes. Yeah.
I would bet that there would be kind of a camera on that this year. So you might want to be careful if you're the goon that just keeps going back to the fridge. Because you're gonna get outed.
Now there's analytics. Oh, they're just gonna go into the computer and go, this guy's passport was swiped 280 times in a week.
Right.
Pete, if you're still listening, don't swipe your passport on
Get someone
that
else. That's a vet move. Get it like Celebrini to do it. He's a kid.
Yeah. Grab
right.
John
Get
Cooper's
some loser.
passport.
Steal a loser's passport.
Right. That's the play. Get some guy in a luge and be like, double down and pass me some pints, because you're right. They've done that in the past.
Isn't there stories, though, of a guy who's, I don't know, a shot putter, or, name me a sport that's there that is early on, but they stay the whole time and just
all
hang
day,
out.
dude. The greatest setup in sports, my understanding, is you want to be done like 2 or 3 days in, because then you are partying for 2 weeks in that village, where I think conversely the worst thing is your event's at the end.
Dude, I wouldn't even go in until, I wouldn't report.
You couldn't. Like, if you were 20 years old and you were in that village with these are the best looking, most athletic people, people that have been going all in, and then the second they're done, it's like, I'm going to just party for like a week, and it's an exclusive place. No one else can get in. You're in there rubbing shoulders with Swedes and Finns. It would be crazy in there. Crazy in there.
Yeah.
So I think you're right. If you're a young athlete and your event's at the end, maybe
there must be some stuff.
There's some
there's
wild.
probably some
the
stuff.
analytics in there apparently are outrageous. What's going on in that village?
Yes.
But that would happen. There'll be someone that'll win a gold or just compete day 2, day 3, and they will get kicked out of there for the closing ceremony.
Yeah.
Setting up shop. All right, we've tracked down Al's brother. We'll catch up with him. We got to come to some sort of consensus. Not right now. I mean, we're not making the picks until Friday, but we'll see what Al's brother's up to. If he's put any thought into the idea of us marrying him on the show.
Yes.
Right? Because
let's just get an update. Let's find out how him and the fiance cruise together.
Yes. Okay, let's see how that first cruise went with the ring. And we'll sneak in a couple of role plays, get to some golf picks as well, right, for the Sony that starts tomorrow. OverDrive continues, TSN 1050 and on YouTube Live.
tonight on TSN 1050. Your Raptors take on the Indiana Pacers.
Snaps it down. Take that with you.
Coverage starts at 6 p.m.
Got it!
Hear it all on TSN 1050. The Raptors live here. Now, back to OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
Don't sweat the technique.
All right, best bets later in the hour. Al's brother with a quick pop-in. We'll catch up with him. Get his level of concern for the pressure that's on him, right, to pick some winners here. He's got to He's got to have a playoff success. This is a big legacy month for him. Him and Josh Allen. You know, it's a real conversation. Who has more on the line?
If you wanted to be a great leader, which you're not, but if you wanted to be one, great leaders and coaches, they hand off responsibilities. So if I was you and wanted to show that you're a great leader, you would say, AB, you get one game, and O-Dog, you get one game.
No
okay.
way.
Can you imagine that, Noodles, after the
No.
season we've had? The picks I've been making that I'm going to relinquish power.
It's
These
not
two.
that's the wrong phraseology. It's called being trustworthy of people.
Delegating
Authority.
Okay.
I think Hayes. Now, MJ used a word yesterday. What was it called again?
Mercurial.
Noodles,
Hayes
do
is
you know what that
mercurial.
word means?
Well, I know that I knew what he was insinuating. I didn't know the exact definition.
Exactly. Same
Like, I
thing.
was
That's
like,
pathetic. 3 50-year-old men or 40 to 50-year-old
but
men on
no,
the same show don't know the word.
I knew exactly what he was meaning, but I couldn't tell you the exact definition of the
Exactly.
word. But I'm like,
Exactly.
okay, like if you're talking about Nylander being mercurial, what is it? Mercurial. Holy smokes! Sorry, guys.
Matt
Come on,
Cause.
Noodles.
Mercurial.
Matt Cause.
Don Cherry
It's a
vibe
tough
there.
word, man.
But
It's a
but
tough word.
But I knew that he meant, the
Yes.
guy is aloof. The guy is kind of, he's on his own island. Put
That's
it that
right.
way. That's what I got
That's
out
right.
of that. But
Noodles,
the
say the
debate,
word one more time.
mercurial.
Mercurial. You got it.
Mercurial.
It's a tough
Yeah,
word,
sorry.
man. It's a
yeah,
tough
I
word.
was. Yeah, well, I butchered it. There's nothing I could do. I butchered it, but now I battled back.
But now you got it, and that's all that
Yeah.
matters.
Thing is when I heard it or went through the video again, Ace, I loved you. You were like, no, I don't really know. MJ, you explain it.
Yeah,
but
he said
you
it.
knew
Why
what
are you
he
asking
meant.
me?
Yeah, you knew what he meant, and
Right.
you had no idea. That's the thing.
Well, we'll see where Al's brother's head is at here momentarily, and we were going to do some role play. I guess are going to shift off that. I do think there's a Vancouver Canuck role play that is in
Hit
front
me
of us.
with one. Role play level of concern. How concerned are you what?
If you're a Canucks fan, that you are bracing for scorched earth rebuild that will take at least 3 years.
Oh, I'm Cage, man. I'm Nick Cage on that.
but I think that's what they want.
Okay?
When Jimmy comes out and says we're open to talk about most all players, that means we've seen enough. And
Well,
But,
whatever your philosophy about an organization, I mentioned last week Craig Button's comments saying regardless of where you are, you still have to have some kind of quality veteran pros around to kind of lead the way.
Yeah.
But if you're tired of watching stuff, you're tired of watching stuff, and that means all of it could be tossed.
They have decisions to make, but they also have players that control their own destiny because of their term of the deal and no move clauses. Yeah. So if those players, if you decide player X, name me a player, Philip Hronek, who's got a long-term deal and I believe has a no move or limited, if he's highly coveted by other teams, which I believe he would be, this is the other thing. If you term, hey, you're going to pick at the carcass, they've got some really good individual players there, really good. But you still have to have some players that you want to build around or at least have during this retool because those players, like watching them last night, there's some good young players. The ones they got from Minnesota, they're going to be good. Like that Biam, whatever his name is, Biam, he's really good. Can skate like the wind. Like he was in a foot race with Jake Sanderson. That's the type of skater this guy was. So I'm looking at it. What are you going to do with Pettersson? Makes 11.5.
What
right?
can you do with Pettersson?
Well, listen, everybody is tradable it is, are you going to eat some salary? If you made him an $8 million player, I think there'd be a big market for him. I really do. I just.
What can Pettersson do with Pettersson, though?
Well, different setting, different scenario. I don't know. My point being is there is good players on that team that are either going to decide, I want to move on because I don't want to be a part of a retool, or they decide I want to stay because I'm going to be a part of the culture here. Mm-hmm. But there's players there. I think that would be a team that you circle and go, if I'm Tree, I'm looking at some of those players and going, can I add that? Can I add one of those players at the deadline?
Yeah, Hronek's an interesting one. Like, he's a right shot, good defenseman.
Yes.
Like, good player.
And can play in a top pairing, can play in a second pairing. Like, he's a guy that I think when you have the Rasmus Andersson conversation, Hronek has to be in these conversations of.
They have a lot of players, Jamie. They have a lot of players that I'm sure a team would look at Jake DeBrusk and say, that guy's actually available?
Well, 100%. I like Jake DeBrusk. Thing is he just signed there. So does he want to stay? Or does he
let
want
me ask
to move
you
on?
this. What guy, and I get it, we've seen it in the past, we've seen it with the Maple Leafs where they wanted to move on for some players, and the players have said, you're not doing it. Which I find to be crazy, because who wants to be a part of a sinking ship that's going nowhere? I thought everybody would be like, I'm sorry, but get me the hell out of here. Quinn Hughes is gone. JT Miller's gone. Our team's no good anymore. Check, please. I'll be a part of the I'll do you guys a solid, and I'll go play somewhere else on a good team. If I can help pick the team, that would be great, but just get me the hell out of here.
Right.
That's going to be the question. I mean, DeBrusk sounded pretty dejected after the game, saying he never lost this much. He was a healthy scratch recently.
Yeah, a couple games
I
ago.
never thought he would be a healthy scratch.
Yeah,
well, I think they're trying to press buttons there. I mean, Adam Foote's trying to do anything he can. They're on a 6-game road trip. I think if they've dumped 8 in a row now, because they've lost 7 in a row going into the game last night. There was 2 overtime losses or shootout losses, but they're winless now in 8. So
yeah, that's trouble.
It's not going well. But I look at Brock Besser's got 5 years left at 7.25. Exactly, Jake.
He hasn't scored. I don't think Brock Besser scored a goal in 20 games.
21 games. It was 20 last night. Going into the game, and all I could think about was tonight's the night he gets a hat trick. Like, I was thinking about that last night because with how things were going for Ottawa, I'm like, tonight's the night that Vancouver has a night. And I'm telling you, the goalie almost did it to
2-1. It was a tight game, yeah.
All I can think about is some of my meetings.
I know, I'm saying the scoreboard.
All I can think about is some of my meetings just bumping into Jimmy Rutherford, whether it be in, like, restaurant, hotel lobby, mall, and, like, 5 to 7 games, no goals, and some of them would be encouraging, but you could tell the intensity on his face that it was like, whatever's going on is going on, but let's get going here. 20 games? I can't imagine.
Well,
I can't. I don't even know if you can even call a guy up to your office anymore, to be honest with you.
But imagine. So you're a competitive guy. You're a guy who scored 40 and multiple 30-goal seasons. That's what Brock Besser is. Brock Besser is a 30-goal man. Like, should be.
I believe he has scored 40. Hasn't he scored 50?
No, I don't think he got 50, but I believe he's been a perennial 30 and up to 40. I think
he has.
So you from your career, you scored 30 in your sleep. That's a guy who scored 30 in his sleep that is going into game 21 without a goal. Imagine where his head is at. Like
it feels like a lifetime. Lifetime.
You guys watched him against the Leafs the other night. He had a seam play on the back door one-timer. If he's having a season, he puts it underneath the bar. He healed it. It went over his stick. I don't know what happened there. Like, he flubbed it. Like, that was on the power play. I don't know if you remember that play against the Leafs. But I was watching him last night. I watched Pettersson. Pettersson scored, but they were quiet. Like, they weren't the players that I've seen.
Jamie, they got nothing, man. They got nothing.
Life.
Well,
it's
so
like Rick Tocchet. What a decision to get out of there. Like, that was one of the all-time great plays.
You think he's a dum-dum? He probably looked at the whole scenario. You don't think he went to Quinn Hughes and said, what's the deal with you anyway? Can you just tell me? Because it's going to be a big factor on what I do.
Yeah.
That was probably the first convo he had. And then he looked at that and then other factors, Pettersson probably being one of them, and everything else. But I would imagine that Quinn Hughes' decision had a major play in Rick Tocchet either staying or going.
Well, you get an inkling. Like, the minute that Hughes moves on, that's you're waving the white flag and going, okay, what are we? But I'm telling you, I have a good buddy who lives in Vancouver who's been dying for a rebuild for years. He always says to me, since Matt Sundin was there, we've been dying for a rebuild, and they're getting it. So I believe the fan base can take a 2 or 3 year, retool, reset, lots of losing, all of that, if they believe they can get the right players, moving forward. Again, I was talking about the players they got in the Quinn Hughes trade. Good young players, 20 years old, 21 years old, so we'll see what they are. But now if you continue to move pieces out, you're going to get more and more assets. It'll be interesting to see what they do. We were just talking about guys with term. Yeah,
you got to hit. You got to unload guys. That's what is next. I think you just got to get rid of Pettersson. I don't know how you do it. I just feel like you've got to move off.
I talked to somebody about him the other day, and the only thing he could come up with saying, whatever you think about what he's doing when it was good and when it's bad, but he came to the conclusion that he just didn't think the Canucks can win with him on their roster. That was the conclusion he came up with.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're not even. I mean, they're not even close to it now, so it doesn't really matter. What you've got to figure out is, can he become the player or some form of the player that he was a couple years ago? Which he was one of your favorite players.
Yes.
Now, can he get?
But
back
Jamie,
to
that's
that?
He's worlds away from that. The step he would have to make to returning to a 100-point player and a dynamic game breaker. I don't know. It's one of the craziest things I've ever seen in hockey.
Be a big voice and leader in the room with the young guys, and there's been whispers about off-season work ethic. That's another thing. Whatever vet is here, if you're Rutherford and company, you're like, we need guys who are obsessed with hockey, can't wait to get in the gym, are going to work and show the young guys the right way to do it.
That's right. You want young guys just to put eyes on Pettersson that are coming up the ranks saying that's the way things are done around here? I don't know. I don't know what he does behind closed doors.
Yeah,
I know AB's there. We'll bring him in. But I one player on that roster that I would circle, I don't know what cost to get him, that keeper Sherwood.
Yeah,
he hits everything. He makes
ton of hits.
$1.5 million. He's got some scoring touch, so he'd probably be a really good third-line player on a good team.
Yeah, someone's acquiring him, and he'll pay a price for him for sure.
Yes,
if they put guys up, guys will be acquired.
Yeah.
All right, so basically since 4 o'clock here has been saying, I can see the board clearly. I should have the right to make the picks effectively.
No, what I've said is your leadership is horrendous. Bring him in. Bring him in.
Here's Al's brother. There it is. I love you, man. I love seeing that. Al's brother. You go away. Great to see you. You go away for a week and a half, and all of a sudden, all hell's breaking loose here. There it is. That's John Lennon solo. What do you have to say for yourself?
Al's brother, first of all, before we talk about the football, what about the cruise? Like the fiance, how are you guys gelling and cruising together?
Yeah.
Very well, O-Dog. Thank you for asking. We had a fantastic time together, and we didn't lose the ring. That was the thing that we were a little worried about was like, what if we lose that ring on vacation? Because you're in the beach, right? You're at the beach, you're in the water, you're walking around. I don't know. It was a bit of a nerve-wracking thing, but we made it home without a fight. We made it home with the ring. Wow. All is well. All is well, boys.
Love hearing
it. Was a fantastic vacation.
Love hearing that. Do you want to address Noodles' accusations that we have a Yoko Ono situation on our hands?
It's not. That's fake news.
First and foremost, I should show as much love as I can to your wonderful fiance. I've never met her. I can't wait. But I did love throwing a little wrench into the conversation because I felt like you guys had an amazing regular season. Mm-hmm. So you were like the Beatles. And then all of a sudden, there was one thing that broke the Beatles up.
Yeah.
And it was love.
That's right.
And it was AB falls in love and brings in Yoko Ono. And all of a sudden, there's some turmoil.
I'm in the corner like we got some, the White Album's just waiting for us here, House brother. We got to get cooking here, man.
It's my bad. I thought we were going to get a bye week. Most first-place teams get a bye week through the first round when we talk about football. Last I checked, I thought we were going to have a bye week, so I set up my vacation with my beautiful fiance. turns out that Doogie doesn't like to play by those normal rules, and we had to play, but it was already booked. And I'm like, I gave as much information as I could. I had a couple leans that some people went away from that may have turned out to be better for us. I'm not going to throw some others under the bus, but I'm locked in this weekend, though, boys.
Okay.
I've been back on land for about 48 hours now-ish, 50, 60 hours, and I've watched maybe 53 hours of football while on land. So I'm ready to make picks this weekend. I feel really good this weekend about the slate of games coming up here.
So let me just ask you this, Al's brother. Like, as opposed to a lean, like, who are you, like, all in on? Like, I love some of my thoughts and decisions about upcoming games. Is there one or two that you love?
I do love the Rams this weekend. Like, if I had to pick one game that I felt mostly strong about, I think it would be the Rams. Like, Chicago, they've been the cardiac Bears, but against a good team and a solid, coaching foundation like the Rams.
Dude, what do you think
McVay,
the Packers and Matt LaFleur are?
Yeah, they're joke artists, obviously.
Unfortunately.
But, like, McVay has shown that he's been able to come up big, and when that team's leading in the second half of football games, they don't lose. Like, they just don't, So I have more belief in the Rams and Matt Stafford that they'll bounce back and have a big game this weekend against the Bears. So that's one that I would say I've got a decent lean on. In terms of the other games, like, they're tough. They are tough, and there's some infighting between us and which one's considered easy games, difficult games. I'm not so sure that we see many blowouts here, and that's where I think we got a bit of an issue with our picks here.
Well, you answer your own question.
Tough.
Oh, what is your one can't miss, I know it's coming decision this weekend?
I already told you. I got two.
Seattle big and Denver big.
Seattle is going to mash San Fran.
Okay, is that you can only pick one, though. You put Al's brother on the spot. He didn't give you four.
Look, Hayes, you know damn well that I can send you a text the morning of these games and we could have a little bit of side action for fun, okay?
Yeah.
So I don't want to interrupt anything
No. You're
like
a
you
big
guys.
Part of the team.
You guys are the
everything.
founding members of HBO, and I don't want to interrupt. I just have some gut instinct stuff.
Okay.
That could be just throwing garbage against the wall.
If it gets to a point where I delegate Al's brother, I want you to give me a pick. I want you to give me a pick. You're going to have to make a decision. It can't be I like both of these, because then you're telling me to make the pick. And, I might put you guys on the spot here. I think Al's brother feels sharp. He feels rested. He looks good. He's feeling good. I kind of like where your head's at in some ways, and I kind of don't in other ways. So, luckily for us, we have 2 days to figure this out.
Yeah,
right?
We got 2 days. I don't want to answer right now, but I have some deeply strong feelings about certain things.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Sounds good. All right, Al's brother.
Darnold's postseason just scares me. Doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Like, riding that guy in the playoffs.
Darnold,
we saw what he did last year.
Dude, sometimes you got to
touchdown.
turn a corner. Sometimes you got to turn a corner on Sammy Darnold. Before we go, Al's brother, I just wanted to touch on one other thing. What about you getting married on OverDrive? Does the fiance say yes or no?
There's that's a conversation we still need to have. It's a conversation we still need to have, but it's not been ruled out yet. And that's the best I can give you. It has not been ruled out.
Not saying no.
Not saying no, not saying
chance.
Yes, but not saying no.
Dude, either one of us three will get certified and be the priest.
Yes.
And marry you.
Not the priest,
officiant?
Yeah.
The officiant.
The justice of the peace. Or
Justice of the peace.
Yes.
I see that in our future.
I could see AB saying, all right, even if your lovely fiance did, the parents would be like, absolutely not. The parents from both sides would be like, are you insane?
You never know. It could be one of the largest operations ever. This is like a royal wedding.
Dude, we rent out Studio 6. We move the panels, and we put chairs in there.
CTV's there, CP24, Omar Sachedina with a like sitting there eating.
Can you
Breaking
imagine
news.
like the royal wedding? Omar standing there on the sidelines reporting on Al's brother's wedding.
I love it.
I love
I
it.
believe
I
the
love
bride
it.
coming up next.
Yeah, I love
Here
it.
comes Al's brother in a horse and carriage.
Yeah, it's a full operation.
In a carriage, in a buggy.
Horse
Yeah,
and
I love it.
carriage.
Like,
Horse and carriage down
Yeah.
Channel 9.
Down
Yeah,
Channel
up
9
McCowan. Al's brother wheeling up McCowan in a horse and buggy, hanging a left
approaching.
at Channel 9.
honest to God, I would pay money to see that. I would pay money to see that.
So would I.
Like,
It would be amazing. All right, the
Yeah.
wheels
We got
are
to
in
flush it
motion.
out, boys. We got to flush it out.
Flushing
Maybe
it
put
out.
a little PowerPoint presentation and present it to not only my beautiful future bride, but also the parents. Because you're
Yes.
right, that you gotta sell it on that.
A lot of
Although,
layers.
I
Oh
will
my
say
God.
the parents are fans of the show.
Okay.
Her father, big fan of the show. He's probably watching right now, and we know my parents love the show, love
Yeah.
everything that we do here at OD.
Just
so-
present the idea, horse and
might
buggy,
be
right from McCowan, right from the mall, right to the studio. You
Well,
got to
I'll
wear
work
one of
on
those
that.
those tall top hats, and you
Yeah.
will look with a big like cane thing. You will be dialed in.
I love
Yeah.
it.
Oh yes,
I love it. Leave CTV.
We might
and
have to make it
CP2
happen,
for us.
boys.
We'll figure
Yeah.
that out. All right, Alice, brother. Well, the wheels are in motion on picks, on weddings. We got a lot of things cooking here. We're feeling good in 26.
Yes.
Great seeing you, and we'll catch up again in a couple of days, and we'll flush out the picks, and we'll figure out where we're going. Great seeing you, buddy,
Yeah,
as always.
I'll get
Great
back
to have
to
you
the
back
tape,
on
boys.
Canadian soil. There he is, Al's brother. I like it. I like it
That
a
would
lot.
be so funny.
Man,
Like,
would that be phenomenal? Right down McCowan. Start at the
Just,
401. and
Traffic
just-
closed down right on McCowan. He comes right down the middle. Police escort horse and buggy
Yeah.
with a giant staff, like just sitting on that buggy with
100%.
a top hat. I love it. It's
I
coming
need
together.
to see it. I need the royal
Yeah.
wedding
Need it
treatment.
too.
We need it. We
Yeah.
need it for
I think
sure.
there's a lot. I think there's a lot of opportunity here.
Yeah.
All right, we'll come back with our best bets and sprinkle in some golf picks for the first time this year. The Sony in Hawaii tomorrow. We'll catch up again on that scene because the golf tour, it's back. It's go time, and it starts tomorrow. Overdrive continues up on YouTube Live.
making these picks, Hazy, I just want to tell you, I think we should rotate weeks, and you can't get greedy. You can't take all the top 5 at the top of the leaderboard. This
I agree
week
with that.
I'll
so what are
make
you
some
saying?
picks.
You're gonna nail out a 5-pack right now? Is that your plan?
I'm going to nail out a 5-pack right now.
Okay.
You want it?
For the Sony, I'll let you go first.
I'm going to take that stinky old Harry Hall with that hat.
He's so committed to that hat.
Dude, you know that guy was the best putter in the world, and Luke Donald said, don't even think about coming on this European team.
Yeah, what's up with that cat?
Dude, they asked him, they said, have you been sized up for the Ryder Cup yet, Harry Hall? He goes, they haven't even called me. They didn't even call Harry Hall.
That's disappointing because he plays the Canadian Open every year.
Yeah.
Like Harry Hall, he rolls the rock, like you said, man. I've seen him up close and personal.
They did not want any part of his action at that Ryder Cup.
Yeah, the stash, the whole vibe. It's a different vibe for Harry.
Nothing.
Okay. Harry Hall.
I'm going to go with my guy Keegan.
Okay.
I am going to go with another one of my guys, Benny Griffin.
Ben Griffin with his shades.
Griffin.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to go with Corey Connors.
Yes.
Did I say Giordano Spieth yet?
No, you haven't.
No,
That's
you
a good one. I think Spieth might have a big year.
Dude, he's got to turn it around. I don't know how his coach hasn't put him on the range and said, maybe hit the fairway, and then we'll start from there.
Yeah, true enough.
And my last one, I'm taking the stinky old VJ Singh. I'm taking Vij.
Okay, VJ Singh.
I love it. I love
Dude,
it. There's a
it's the
chance.
craziest wild card pick of all time. He could dial it in.
No, he can't.
No.
With
Yes,
the broom
dude.
putter
With the
and big
honkas and the
shoes.
broomstick.
Okay. All right. Go ahead. There, your 5-pack's locked in. I am going to go with, who am I going? Maverick McNeely, my boy Mav. I
Great
love
selection.
the way
He's a
he
great
played down the
player.
stretch. Really good player. Likes that track a lot. Nick Taylor, Canadian, back-to-back. I'm going back-to-back with Nick. He won it last year. Loves this course. Always performs well. I think Nick Taylor will start his year really, really well. I'm looking at putters early in the season. Denny McCarthy. I think old Denny gets over there.
That little weasel.
He loves rolling putts, man. And now I'm gonna go deeper down. Hao Tong Lee with the goofy swing. Hao Tong loves this course. All right,
Dude, you might have just said it. I don't think Hao
I don't think I
Tong's
said it properly.
Hao Tong's never been selected before.
No, I don't think. I don't think he
Never,
has.
ever.
That one is reaching deep down into
Yes.
the barrel.
Yes. And what do I have? One more pick, or do I
Go
have two
ahead.
picks? I got to go higher up the list for my last one. I'll go with a former winner. I'll go with Hideki Matsuyama. I'll go with Hideki. Again, winner there, won there a couple of years. He always performs well. Matsuyama, final pick.
I want to just toss
I have one more. Okay, I got one more.
I want to give you one more as well. Brown pants, black shirt, brown and black belt. You know who I'm talking about.
Okay.
Brian Harmon.
Brian Harmon. Are you taking him or are you?
I'm going to take him.
Okay,
I'm
you
going to
take
take
Harmon.
him.
So then I have two more picks. Okay, I'll take Morikawa and Aaron Rai. Two gloves in Hawaii. Aaron
Dude,
Rai, best
Aaron
styles
Rai,
going.
man. He makes Bernhard Longer look like the fastest player
Yeah,
on earth.
6.5 hour rounds.
Insane-o, man. He's
I love the way he
insane.
plays. All right, there it is. The first inaugural of the season. The Sony picks are in, and I feel good about them. I feel very good about them.
Yeah, and get ready, folks. I did a deep dive on the new TaylorMade driver coming out. Insane-o world.
Yeah,
Is
it
your
looks
shoulder
phenomenal.
all right to hit it, or what?
No,
It looks so
that's
good.
going to be a problem, but that thing looks so good, what TaylorMade's come out with.
I was watching clips today. Like, I guess Tommy Fleetwood put a 9-wood in play, the new QI 4D 9-wood.
Dude, I bet you that thing goes 235 in the air and drops down like a sand wedge.
Exactly what he was doing. Like, just the easiest swing, right in the air, moving it every direction, and it stopped on a dime, basically. So, yeah, the new line from TaylorMade looks phenomenal.
A
Looks great.
9-wood.
Yeah. Like, I don't know if he'll put it in play throughout the year. He's not in this tournament this week, but he was out hitting it and testing it. Like, the 7-wood's big. A lot of guys, like, I know Morikawa's got the 7-wood in his bag this week.
Yeah.
He loves a 7-wood. But they're all playing, like Rory's bag, he's decked out, all new QI 4D. Like, he's not playing any of the old clubs. Like, everything is across the board. Driver, 3-wood, 5-wood. So, yeah, it looks great. All right, Best Bets powered by FanDuel. Make your picks and assemble a same-game parlay in seconds on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. We just saw the golf picks. There's a winner in there. There's a winner, guaranteed, courtesy of FanDuel. Must be 19 plus, physically located in Ontario. All right, picks later in the week. Leafs Vegas tomorrow night. What a night it's going to be.
Good
right?
one, yeah.
The Leafs in Vegas taking on Mitch Marner. Marner and the Knights are in L.A. tonight. You got Ottawa down in New York. The Rangers are a mess right now. And, Ottawa coming off a win last night, so big game for them. Yeah. And every night, there's Canadian teams in action. I mean, it just never stops. And
You're
it's going to be the
scoreboard
case.
watching every night. That's what it is.
Every single night. All right. Good stuff. Thanks to everyone behind the scenes for helping out. We appreciate it. Everyone for tuning in today. TV, radio, podcast, web, and up on YouTube Live. Every hour of every show up on TSN's YouTube channel. Enjoy your evenings. Enjoy the games tonight. We're back tomorrow at...
Let's shut down McCowan and get that horse and buggy cooking right up the center of it with the staff.
Yes.
4 p.m.
We'll chat then.